In this lesson, you will examine a video case study of the use of ICT for learning in action. We are going to Broadclist Community Primary School in Devon, England, where teacher Andy Lees worked with his Year 4 class on a Global Communities Photography project. Please watch this video and see how ICT is used to build the children's knowledge and skill throughout the learning unit. This video presents a unit of work from Anthony Lees, a teacher in Broadclist School in Surrey, England. This unit of work was part of a larger project called the Global Communities Project, which Broadclist School initiated in October 2014. It was a cross-curricular, project-based learning unit that has learning goals drawn from literature, geography, computing, speaking and listening. Anthony was working with a Year 4 class group who were aged between 8 and 9 years of age. The core learning goal of this activity was to understand geographical similarities and differences through the study of human and physical geography of a region of the United Kingdom, a region in a European country, and a region within North or South America. As it was a location study, the children from around the globe studied the environs of their local school and then their locality, which in the case of Broadclist was a rural village setting. The children used Office 365, Yammer and OneNote to share their findings with each other and to engage in a range of discussions. It was carried out over half a term and children had 1 or 2 lessons a week devoted to the project. This project focused on representing the children's local community in a visual medium using photography. So to start with, the children researched how to take good photos, and for this they reviewed the Kodak 10 Tips for Kids. Having identified key criteria such as focus, framing and lighting, Anthony divided the children into teams of 4 and they took photos of their school surroundings that demonstrated an important aspect of the school. On returning to class, they then used a rubric to select their 6 best photographs.
So we're going to get our pictures on the media drive and have a look at them one at a time as a team. And the first question we're going to say is the subject in focus? Now if it's not, we haven't taken a very good photo, have we? If it's not, we stop there because it's only worth 1 point.
The children, in pairs, displayed their photos on one laptop and they had their rubric open on the second laptop while they engaged in discussion around selecting their photos. Using their rubric, they reviewed the photos and discussed the number of points they would allocate to each one. Once the children had selected their 6 photos, they then, as a class group, discussed how to write suitable captions for their photos.
What is a caption? We're going to need to write one each, so we're going to need 6 of them. What are they?
There's something that explains what the picture's doing.
Brilliant, well done you.
In writing their captions, they considered different types of captions, such as funny or catchy remarks, descriptions, and a sentence explaining why the subject was important. In their pairs, the children subsequently uploaded to Yammer the 6 photos that they had taken around the school. They then created captions to accompany these photos. Other children in the project could then comment on or ask questions about each individual photo. In this way, the children engaged in conversations with a wide group of people from around the world about the content of their photos. Having completed their school study, the children then moved on to the second part of the project, which was a study of their community. Anthony and the children asked the question, what places in our community are important? They wanted to identify the unique landmarks in their village that they could photograph and share with the other project partners. The class engaged in a brainstorming activity where they identified all the interesting landmarks they could think of in their village, and Anthony captured these on OneNote.
Okay, let's have a look back at our list together. Turn yourself away from OneNote, please. Right, let's have a look at our list. Our list has lots of things, doesn't it? Some man-made, some natural, some tourist attractions, some commercial things like businesses or shops, all sorts of things.
As part of a class discussion, the children generated a list of landmarks in their locality that were important, memorable, or that defined the area. The list was captured on the classroom interactive whiteboard using OneNote. Subsequently, the children marked these landmarks on their own hand-drawn maps. In groups of 2, the children opened OneNote on their laptops and reviewed a hand-drawn map created by Patricia in Peru. They reviewed her map to see if any of her locations matched with those in their village. They identified landmarks such as the bus stop, library, shops, and noted that the children in Peru had a cinema, something they did not have. They then studied a second map, also created by a student in Peru, and this time they used the map key to identify some of the interesting places. Having studied the maps that were created by the children in Peru, they then set about drawing their own maps of their village. They worked in pairs to draw a map of their local area using paper and pencil. Children discussed what landmarks they would include in their freehand maps. They then compared their hand-drawn maps to a scaled map of the village, and children were very excited to find their school and other well-known landmarks on the map. Having chosen their places of interest and drawn their own maps, the children then marked their chosen landmarks on the Ordnance Survey map. Using OneNote, they marked their landmarks with little crosses on their maps. They were able to zoom in and enlarge the maps so they could accurately mark the landmarks they had chosen. Children engaged in discussion with their partners and used their hand-drawn maps to locate their landmarks on the real map. Having identified the places of interest on their maps, the children, in their groups, planned their route from the school to these landmarks. They drew their route on their Ordnance Survey maps and discussed what was the quickest and most direct route to take. This task involved map reading and the generation of directions. Armed with their maps and their cameras, the children took off on a beautiful sunny day to capture their photos of their places of interest. They took some amazing pictures of their local church, Victory Hall, the village green, the local restaurant, the beautiful thatched houses, the post office, and the distinctive English phone box. In taking their photos, they ensured they took interesting photos and applied their photography skills very effectively. On returning to school, they uploaded their photos on their laptops and shared them with their classmates and the other schools around the world using Yammer. In this way, they gave the other children a visual tour of their community. To bring the activity to a conclusion, the children created a presentation of their work using Sway. They shared their presentations with the children from the other schools in the project using Yammer. They also participated in a Skype call with some of the children where they discussed their favourite presentations and explained why they had selected certain photos. In selecting their favourite sways, the children used their rubric for judging our final presentation. The children really enjoyed the activity, and they worked very hard on capturing and captioning their photos to share with other children. They wanted to showcase their school and village in the best light, and they also noted that children in other schools did the same.
Well, I think we were all quite excited and we were quite eager to do our best because everyone was, well, not everyone, but most people were going to see it from other schools. So we were quite determined to work quite hard and then just try and make the photos look good and make them the best we could. But we knew that it wasn't all, you have to do this because our photos have to be the best in the entire school. It's just try your best. And then
I was thinking of landmarks in this broadcast area that would
I would remember, and like I can think of a picture in my head of how they were really, like Victory Hall. I can always remember the picture of Victory Hall, like when going up there doing school stuff.
It is clear that they are very proud of their village and that this activity afforded them an opportunity to use ICT to develop interesting photographical representations of their area. Please watch the video again and take note where you see evidence of use of ICT for learning. Make notes of what level you would code it and why.
So we're going to get our pictures on the media drive and have a look at them one at a time as a team. And the first question we're going to say is the subject in focus? Now, if it's not, we haven't taken a very good photo, have we? If it's not, we stop there because it's only worth 1 point. What is a caption? We're going to need to write one each, so we're going to need 6 of them. What are they?
There's something that explains what the picture's doing.
Brilliant. Well done, you. Let's have a look at our list. Our list has lots of things, doesn't it? Some man-made, some natural, some tourist attractions, some commercial things like businesses or shops, all sorts of things.
quite excited and we were quite eager to do our best because everyone was, well, not everyone, but most people were going to see it from other schools. So we were quite determined to work quite hard and then just try and make the photos look good and make them the best we could. But we knew that it wasn't all, you have to do this because our photos have to be the best in the entire school. It's just try your best. And then
I was thinking of landmarks in this broadcast area that I would remember, and like I can think of a picture in my head of how they were really, like Victory Hall. I can always remember the picture of Victory Hall, like when going up there doing school stuff.
We are going to look at this video once more. This time it will highlight evidence of the different levels of use of ICT for learning. See how they compare to what you noted. In the previous video, you were presented with a synopsis of Anthony's unit of work that created a photographical representation of his school and local community. In groups of 4, the children took photos of their local area and shared these on Yammer with children from around the world. This video is also based on this unit of work, but it examines how students in Anthony's classroom use ICT for learning in knowledge construction. Just to remind you, when examining a unit of work for use of ICT for learning, the following questions are asked. Do students have the opportunity to use ICT for learning in this activity? Does ICT support students' knowledge construction? Do students use ICT to support knowledge construction, and could they construct the same knowledge without using ICT? Do the students use ICT to support knowledge construction, and is ICT required for constructing this knowledge, and do students create an ICT product for authentic users? Student use of ICT happens when students use ICT directly to complete all or part of their learning activity. Throughout this unit of work, the children used a variety of technology, including digital cameras, Office 365, Yammer and Sway, to create a range of learning artifacts. For example, as part of the first lesson, the children used digital cameras to take pictures of areas of interest around their school and in their local village. They subsequently loaded their photographs onto OneDrive and they shared these with other school children via Yammer. ICT was used by the children at all stages of the project to conduct research and to capture and present their photographs. Knowledge construction occurs when students generate ideas and understandings that are new to them through interpretation, analysis, synthesis, or evaluation. The knowledge construction supported by ICT must be about the learning goals of the activity. Learning to use the ICT does not qualify. For example, the children reviewed the Kodak 10 Tips for Kids rubric before developing their own rubric, which guided how they took their photos. On returning to class, they then used their rubric to select their 6 best photographs that captured important aspects of their school. The children, in pairs, displayed their photos on one laptop and they had the rubric open on the second laptop while they engaged in discussion around selecting their photos. This involved the children in analysing and evaluating their images and making informed decisions. They then added captions to their images and shared them with other schools via Yammer, something that they could not have engaged in if they didn't use technology. ICT for knowledge construction is also evident when students used Sway to create their final presentations. The students, working in groups of 4, selected appropriate images and combined these with text to showcase the landmarks they selected in their school and in their locality and why these were selected. They then shared their final presentations with the other schools involved in the project. Again, this would not have been possible without the use of ICT. Many activities that require knowledge construction can also be done without ICT. When the students were researching their local area, they reviewed a number of maps that had been created by other school children in the project. They viewed Patricia's map of a village in Peru on OneNote, but this activity could also have been carried out without using technology. Later, they also reviewed an ordnance survey map of their own village on OneNote, and again, both of these tasks could have been carried out without technology. In this activity, children created line drawings of their locality, and they drew in the important and memorable landmarks in the village using pencil. However, there are occasions when it would be impossible to undertake knowledge construction activities or impractical to complete them without the use of ICT. For example, students using digital cameras were able to take their photos and upload them directly to their OneDrive, where they analysed their photos using their rubric and then developed appropriate captions for these photos before sharing them with other schools. This activity would not have been possible without using technology. Students and teachers in other schools were able to comment on their pictures and ask questions about why these pictures were taken. It allowed the children to engage in critical discussions with people from other countries and cultures. It also allowed the teacher and the students to quickly upload their photos, and, using their laptops, they were able to review them and share them via Yammer with the other project partners. Thus, the students engaged in analysis and in making substantive decisions about their chosen photographs as part of this process. Students are designers of ICT products when they create ICT products that others can use. In this project, the students created a number of products using ICT. Firstly, they captured photographs of their school and of their community, and they shared these products using Yammer with an audience beyond their school using technology. In addition, they developed presentations using Sway that captured their locality in a pictorial form. In so doing, a global audience were able to view a selection of the students' memorable landmarks, both in their school and in their locality, through photos and appropriate captions. This global audience were able to experience elements of the locality of Broadclist through the work of the children. This was made possible by using Sway and by sharing their digital artifacts over the internet. Subsequently, the students in Broadclist discussed their Sways with other students in the project via Skype. Now that we have examined the use of ICT for learning in action and looked at how we can apply this 21 CLD rubric to design a learning activity to help develop students' use of ICT for learning, we would like you to consider what sort of learning activity you create to help develop your students' use of ICT for learning skills. In this lesson, we have looked at the use of ICT for learning in action. In the next lesson, we will look at how you can create opportunities for your students to use ICT for learning in your classroom.